Hey everyone, this is Paul Gale from paulgalenetwork.com, and thank you for joining me today for video game news. It is February 8th, 2021, and these are the top stories of the day. Okay, to kick things off, this is definitely the most exciting part of the day for me, and that's because the ESA today announced that they're hopefully going to have an E3 planned for 2021. It would take place this June 15th through 17th and be an online 3-day live stream event. Now, E3 is something really special to me. I grew up as a fan of E3 before I even fully knew what it was. To me, growing up and looking through Nintendo Power's Electronic Gaming Monthly magazines, I saw it's a video game exposition. It's got different companies showing off different games, Nintendo, Sega, Capcom, Konami, different booths, and it looked like a lot of fun. Then I got the opportunity to go to E3 for the first time in 2000, narrowly missing a chance that I had in 1999, but got to go in 2000, 16-year-old me, 2001, 17-year-old me, all the way through 2019. It's a 19-year history, having been to 20 E3s. I love it. It's my favorite time of the year. You know, Growing up being on the outside or being too young to simply go to E3, it was an exciting event because we always got to see new video game pictures before the age of the internet, just new games that were coming out that were a couple of years off, different projects that developers were working on, behind the scenes looks, some interviews with famous developers. It was awesome. Getting to go to E3, it just became this 3-day ultra vacation. Growing up a Los Angeles kid and a Los Angeles adult my whole life, E3 for me, for all the years that they've taken place in the Los Angeles Convention Center, has only been a 20-mile drive from my house. And it's easy to get to. You go there, you park, you just have a blast. You show up early, you leave late, you just do thousands of steps of walking every day. But you meet friends, you make friends, you get to meet your heroes. I've had so many nice discussions over the years and nice photos with Mr. Shigeru Miyamoto, Charles Martinet, Reggie Fils-Aimé, Nate Bildorf, Ray Jimenez, Eric Ko, Taki Inamoto, Eiji Aonuma, just, several people that come to the top of my head. Ken Lobb, Larry Herb. Um, the list goes on and on. I don't want to go into too many names because there are too many people, and I would feel bad if I kept on going and I left certain folks out. And even as I'm going through that list of quick names that I just dropped, I know there's more that I could talk about, but I don't want to spend too much time. I do have a video if you're interested in seeing at least my Nintendo journey of E3 from 2000 through 2015. I have a fun video on YouTube. It's E3 2000 to 2015. Nintendo and my relationship over those 16 E3s. But anyhow, meeting people you look up to, making friends, developing sources, playing games, honestly. Getting to play a lot of games. Games that sometimes don't come out for a year and a half, 2 years in advance. Getting free swag. Lots of cool memorabilia over the years. Plastic, rubber, figurines, t-shirts aplenty, hats, posters, unique keychains, tons of stuff. Even a Wavebird controller. I was one of the first in the world to get a Wavebird controller before it came out in Japan, before it came out in the United States. The booths, the spectacle of the show, going to different meetings, sitting in different events, interviewing developers, going behind the scenes and getting to go in companies' VIP booths because you've made friends over the years, handling different things for media, whether it was my Gamers.com days, OneUp.com days, Bitmob.com days, going to E3, talking to developers, to publishers, to indie developers eventually, and seeing what they're made of, bringing to the forums, bringing to my own PaulGaleNetwork.com stories from the show. How did a new controller feel in my hands for the first time? Did it pass the Hadouken test? Did the D-pad work well? What was my favorite booth? Going to the booths in the early days of E3, meeting all of the booth babes, meeting all of the booth bros, and the different, you know, awesome cosplay that you saw, whether it was Kratos from God of War, or Super Mario Brothers, or Link and Zelda. You know, there's always something to see. Lara Croft, Tomb Raider, Master Chief from Halo, the list goes on. The booths were set up, and you know, they got to a peak, and then you know, we hit a little bit of a time where booths kind of went down, and then they started going up again. And like right now, there's this resurgence in E3 where 2019's show was the biggest it's been in years, and it kind of brought back to that, you know, 2006 and prior era of just being a really big sizable show. And that kind of helped by having, you know, regular people be able to purchase their way into E3 without spending $900 on a pass. And you know, I welcomed that. You know, being a part of the media myself, I've always had the opportunity to go to E3, go early, stay late, but I welcomed new people. I welcomed new fans. To me, E3 is all about having fun, building those experiences, playing those games, really making the most out of every day you can, because as tiring as it is to stand in line and to walk in, you know, the same shoes for hours on end, like, man, there's nothing like it, you know? I get E3 withdrawals when the day's done and that week's done and I go back to normal life. It's like, man, driving around town, seeing block walls, seeing buildings, the colors aren't the same, the music's not the same. E3, you've got visuals everywhere. You know, you have Nintendo setting up booths with real life Mario Kart that you could sit in and take a picture with, a beautiful backdrop of Wind Waker, you know, where you could be in the Wind Waker HD King of Red Lion's boat, the Twilight Princess booth, one of my favorites, the Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater booth, one that really, you know, sits in my mind. The presentations that we got to go to, whether it was the Nintendo presentation at the Nokia Center or Ubisoft's, you know, these were fun events that you got to go to, sit in. It was a part of that pre-E3 warm-up and having people, you know, talk to you. The Nintendo World Championships, a different event, but, you know, similar feeling. One that maybe more of you had the opportunity to go to, depending on who's watching this right now, because that one wasn't, you know, media focused like E3 usually is. But I just love the show. So to find out that it's coming back this year makes me really happy, because we obviously missed 2000's show, and there I was. I got my invitation in the mail. After a while, ESA sends out an invitation to Paul Gale Network because I've been to so many. So sometimes they still make you register, go through the media credentials and whatnot, but for many of the E3s, you just get an invitation. Would you like to attend this year? Yes? Cool, cool. So I got my invitation. I got my confirmation badge, and then all it was several weeks later, and boom, got that email that morning. ESA has determined, you know, in the safety of the world and coronavirus COVID-19, we're canceling E3 this year. Stay tuned if there's anything that's online. There wasn't. PGN, I had my own E3 2020 kind of what I think the show might be like event last year, just for fun. But this time, it's back. Hopefully, it's not a guarantee yet, but the pitch is to have it run from June 15th through 17th and be online, team up with different companies, have different publishers, developers, have some pre-recorded stuff, maybe some live stream stuff, you know, give different times to different, you know, companies throughout the day, throughout the 3 days, to, you know, have it be branded as part of E3 week, you know, and have Nintendo show off their stuff, PlayStation, Xbox, Capcom, EA, Activision, Disney, you know, anybody that, you know, wishes to participate, indies, and so forth. That's kind of what I wanted E3 to be last time around. And my one step more would be, you know, live stream and have me, for instance, someone who's very familiar with these companies, who has a lot of good relationships with different developers, you know, go to these different studios. Go to Santa Monica Studios, visit Sony, go to Redmond, Washington, go visit Nintendo and Microsoft. You know, safe, masks, social distancing, getting tested ahead of time, and have many interviews, things that were recorded in advance that can be displayed during E3 2020. You know, that was kind of a pitch to help it be more live, be more fun, be more immersive, bringing the story to you. You know, obviously E3 didn't happen last year, but I still hope that something like that happens this time around. You know, in addition to just these live streams that are kind of like a Treehouse Live presentation that Nintendo usually does, or Nintendo Directs, or how PlayStation had their, you know, summer blowout of the PS5 last summer, or Xbox had the Xbox Series S reveal last summer. You know, give us some, maybe some Zoom-based meetings where, you know, they allow X amount of 100 people in per panel. You maybe have to pay to have your way in. The broadcast is being streamed live as these developers play the new God of War for the first time that you're getting to see, playing Halo Infinite, playing The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild's successor. And all of that footage is being, you know, displayed for the world to see. That's fine. It's free. But if you're part of the 100 or 200, 300 people per Zoom panel, you know, your face is on screen. You're part of the rectangles. Maybe you're muted, and an official person that's, you know, corresponding the information from, you know, Nintendo, for instance, and the viewers is the one that's in charge of unmuting someone, picking someone random from the audience that's watching, answering a question, tapping you into this member of this dev studio, and letting you ask a question and stuff like that. Like, that would be really cool. That's my idea for 2021 that kind of evolves on my 2020 ideas. Get the live stream in, get some kind of interview situation in, have the drops of the pre-recorded information in, and then go one step further and have like these live panels where people, fans, could interact with. I would love it. I hope it happens in some capacity. I never want the world to go too long without an E3. This is my, you know, Super Bowl. This is my WrestleMania, and I actually like WrestleMania, and I have been to a few over the years. Not to Super Bowl, but to a few WrestleManias and SummerSlams, UFC events too, for that matter. But E3, man, there's nothing like it. I live for that show. It's simply the best time. Like I said, the booths, the colors, the friends you make, the old people that you've connected with that, you know, usually you talk to because of distancing, not just social distancing, but just, you know, different developers live thousands of miles away from you. So, you know, you talk throughout the year, send text this way or that way, contact each other through Facebook, through Messenger, what have you. But you get to see each other, and, you know, it is a special thing, E3 is. If it doesn't come back in person till 2022, which is the earliest it looks like at this point, I'd be fine, because I'd be hopeful that E3 is going to come back. It's going to live on in person again. But if this version of E3 doesn't happen, I kind of have a little fear that E3 might not come back at all, you know, because the farther you remove yourself from an industry that relies on E3, the more people start to realize, like, we could build our own summer event rollout of games, you know? We don't have to go through the ESA to do things. Capcom could have a special summer event of their own. Nintendo could just drop their own Nintendo Direct, not affiliated with the E3 Nintendo Direct, you know? But I think E3 holds weight. I think it's been around so long that it still means something. The brand, that logo, E3, people still know about it. But like I said, the longer something goes without having one, the more people start to realize, there are other ways to do this, and there are other ways to succeed. But all of those other solutions aren't fan-based. They're not, 50,000 people running around an arena based. There's no glory in booth setup. There's no presentation. There's no spectacle. I know that for people, for the majority of video game fans around the world, you'll never have the opportunity to go to E3, unfortunately. Maybe you live too far. Maybe you live close by, but it's just too expensive. But if you ever had the opportunity, I absolutely recommend going. It's fantastic if you're a video game fan. So, for the majority of the world watching, does it really matter if it's just all online digital content being released to you because you wouldn't go anyways? I would like to think that if you're a real big video game fan, you'd still want E3 to happen for others because you could live vicariously through them in a way. And, you know, at least for me, if I can't go to an amusement park, if I can't experience something, I still want to see it be experienced. I still want to see the booth. I still want to see the event because I could appreciate it for what it is and I could appreciate someone else's happiness having it. So, wish me luck. Wish E3 luck. Let's hope that it does happen in 2021. Let's hope that it's a success, and let's hope that 2022 it comes back and it is indeed in person. All right, that's my bit on E3. Let's move on. Got to talk a little bit about this. It's a quick news and update right here. 2 games to talk about. One, Grand Theft Auto 5, one of the best games of this past generation. It's available on every platform. You know, it started off, hard to believe, but on Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3, and then got ported to Xbox One and PlayStation 4, and now is getting a next generation, which is now current gen, Xbox Series X, S, and PlayStation 5 upgrades. It's obviously available on PC as well. I'm looking forward to seeing just how much work goes into making this GTA 5 new version pop. Why am I talking about it today, though? It's because it was announced that 140 million copies have now been sold worldwide of this title. Just staggering. One of the best-selling games of all time. Sure, it's available on a lot of systems. Sure, this is a title that's been out for quite a few years now. But if you look at its yearly sales, it's doing quite well. As new people get new machines, more people keep buying GTA 5. Its online community is thriving, and really it's a fine game. It's one of my favorites of this, past decade. And I can't wait for Grand Theft Auto 6 to come out. I also can't imagine it coming out anytime soon, but hopefully by 2023. That would be nice. Like a fall 2023 GTA 6 would be good. Even that might be too early, hard to say, but that would be my hope, kind of. And after Grand Theft Auto 5 news of 140 million, Red Dead Redemption 2, also impressive, with 36 million. 36 million for Red Dead Redemption 2, is a far cry from the 140 of GTA 5, but it's also not as big of a franchise. You're not dealing with, giant listings of, or giant category, I should say, or you're not dealing with a giant soundtrack. That's what I was trying to get at, with radio and real songs and stuff like that, kind of brings more of the pop culture feeling into a GTA 5 than a Red Dead Redemption, which is set in the West. Not everybody's cup of tea when it comes to genres, but when you play this game, you really appreciate the locales. The vistas are incredible. The storytelling, the voice acting, it's all superb. Some gameplay issues. Some people may or may not be down with everything with aiming and so forth. But overall, very solid game. It's hard to complain too much over this. You might be more into the Grand Theft Auto. Clearly, more people are because it's sold better, but if you haven't played Red Dead Redemption 2, I definitely recommend checking it out. So congratulations anyways on these two numbers, 140 and 36. Nice going. Moving along. I told you about this last week. Playtonic Games is definitely teasing something. They're in the middle of a rebranding. They announced today on Twitter, "We'd like to give our community, our friends, a giant hug. We know you're all wondering what we have cooking, and although we can't say just yet, something will be revealed soon. Thank you for being patient with us." So that's cool. I'm looking forward to it. I want to see what they got cooking. Uh, New ukulele, new game altogether, new brand, new logo. What's going on? I will keep you posted, and as that happens, as it comes out, I'll let you know. Moving along, Jamie Lee Curtis on your left, and Patricia Tanis on your right. What's the deal with this? Jamie Lee Curtis has been announced that she is going to be portraying the live-action version of Patricia Tanis in the upcoming Borderlands movie. That's kind of cool. Patricia's been in all 3 Borderlands games, and Jamie Lee Curtis has been around Hollywood for a good amount of years, and I think she'll bring some good life to the role. So that's kind of exciting from a movie perspective, and I'm looking forward to seeing how she does. Next up, The Flash. It looks like we're getting The Flash in Fortnite, and it looks like Epic will be revealing him very soon. You know, talk about a game that's got characters. You look at how many characters Fortnite has, and I said before, in a way, it's kind of doing what Super Smash Brothers is doing, because you've got DC characters, you've got Kratos, Master Chief, Marvel characters, you got NFL licensing going on. Fortnite's becoming bigger and bigger, and this Flash costume looks cool, and I'm looking forward to trying Flash out in Fortnite. And finally today in video game news, this is something that I showed you last year. And now we have a new trailer. So we'll watch it together. I realized I didn't tell you what this is. It's Black Myth, Wukong. Black Myth Wukong is being developed out of the East. Chinese mythology, Monkey King. You know, we're looking at an action-adventure style game like a Legend of Zelda mixed with the God of War. The level of polish is crazy. The environmental details. The particle effects going on. The polygon models on the enemies. The animation in which they're moving, fire effects, the water reflections. Look at the destruction in the environments. Be strong like a bull. Just look at that. Isn't that cool? Say, how much more trailer do we have? Not much. If you want to check out more, you could go to HEISHENHUA.com. Thank you to excuse me. Thank you to IGN for the video. What do you think of Black Myth Wukong? That's a look at the horsepower. That's a look, I should say, at the graphics that the horsepower of these PS5s and Xbox Series X's are going to give us. So thanks to those consoles, we're going to get some very beautiful next-gen action-adventure games. And every genre, really, for that matter, is just going to pop. I'm stoked. You know, I'm already happy playing God of War 4 on my 4K OLED with a new update, going 4K, 60 frames per second. And that's a base PS4 game that just looks great already, but just looks remarkable and plays fantastic on the PS5. And that's not a new game, you know? That's already a few years old, and it's just so good and looks so nice. Now, the next God of War is one of my most anticipated games, and I just can't wait to see what it looks like, you know? As much as I'm excited to play it and to go to Ragnarok and have that story continue of Kratos and his son, I'm not gonna lie, like, the graphics, those first shots, that first trailer is probably going to be breathtaking. And then just from there, who knows how good of a generation this is going to look like. Something built from the ground up, like Perfect Dark, the next game, which I imagine will be like a 2023 release or something like that. That's going to be first person shooter heaven right there. You know, I'm playing through right now Doom Eternal again. Bits and pieces of it, I should say, on the Xbox Series X, because when it came out, I was having my PlayStations on my 1080p TV, and now going on my 4K OLED. There's a big difference with HDR, and Doom Eternal already is a great looking game, and kind of like God of War, it's a game, you know, that's playable on the base Xbox One. I want to see Perfect Dark on the Series X, you know. I want to play the next God of War on the PS5. It's an awesome generation. We're in for a treat, I think. Black Myth Wukong, you're giving me ideas of what I want to see in other titles. I'm excited for this though too, because you know, even though it's not an established franchise or anything, it's still something that's getting my attention. And hey, this could be the birth of a brand new series that we all like and play multiple versions of, sequels down the road. Time will tell. All right, that's going to do it today for video game news. Let me know what you thought. E3 talk, Grand Theft Auto 5, Red Dead Redemption 2 talk, Playtonic, what's going on? Jamie Lee Curtis, are you excited for her role in Borderlands movie, Black Myth Wukong? What'd you think? All right. Thanks everybody for your time. Appreciate it. Hope you all have a good one, and I'll see you next time. Bye.